what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and today I'm going to be reading 2 February releases that came out from Orbit or Hachette Publishing. So if you don't know, Orbit is one of my all-time favorite go-to publishers for especially fantasy but also sci-fi books. So they have come out with the Third Rule of Time Travel, they've John Gwynn's books, David Dalglish's books, they have come out with Green Teeth, they've come out with Paradise 1 by David Wellington that I have. They have quite a few books that I've read. How to Become the Dark Lord and Trying is also from Orbit. So usually when I am looking for a new fantasy book or series or sci-fi that I really want to get into and I'm really hoping that I'm going to enjoy it, usually Orbit is one of my go-tos. I generally like their books quite a bit, and so in this video I'm going to be reading 2 of the books that came out within February. One is from an author that I have read from before, and the other one is from a brand new debut author. So the first book that I read for this video is The Trident and the Pearl. This is by Sarah K.L. Wilson. This is a brand new romantasy book that is following a woman who is queen of this island, or multiple islands. She is the queen of the Isles, and when her husband dies in a horrible storm, she makes a deal with the god that she will marry the next man who sets foot on the pier. And when she does that, the first man who ends up setting foot on the pier is a fisherman. So now our queen is having to marry a fisherman, give up her title, and go and live as a regular woman and have pretty much nothing left. And so I will be reading this one. And then the other book that I read for this video is Nightshade and Oak. This is by Molly O'Neill, the same author as Green Teeth. And I read Green Teeth last year and I really enjoyed it. This is her new one and I'm really glad to have read it. I'm filming this after the fact, so I'm sorry, this is a mess. I'm filming this after the fact because my footage is all messed up, and so we're refilming the intro for this video. But either way, these are the 2 books that I ended up reading for this video. Thank you to Orbit for kindly sending me this finished copy of Trident and Pearl. This book is absolutely beautiful. I love this cover so much, and I bought this one because I needed to have it when it came out. So these are 2 books from Orbit. I wanted to do this video for a long time, reading some different books from Orbit. I want to continue to do this. I want to be able to spotlight some authors for you guys, and this is kind of the start of that. So I will toss it over to me from a couple of weeks ago now when I actually started The Trident and the Pearl. I started filming this the end of last week, and things are just, I haven't been reading as much. It has been beautiful outside, so we've been spending a ton of time outside and just enjoying the beautiful weather. So I have been reading, just maybe not quite as much as I normally do, but I have been reading The Trident and the Pearl by Sarah K.L. Wilson, and I am almost halfway through now. I'm up to chapter 14, which is 166 pages into this. So this book is following Coralus, and she is the queen of the Crocus Isles, and this book starts out with there being a really awful storm going on that is basically going to wipe out the islands. And so she goes up to one of their temples and pleads to this god Okius, or no, not Okius, it's Okeanos, and asks him to help save her realm. And In doing though, so the god answers her, and he makes a deal that she will marry the first man who sets foot on her pier and live as he lives. And she's like, well, I'm married. That doesn't work. And he's like, but are you? And come to find out, her husband has been lost to the sea in this storm. He had gone back out to try and save some other people that were stranded. And in doing so, she lost her husband. So she is grieving, and she has to make this deal with this god, Okeanos, to marry the first man who sets foot on her shore, on her pier. And so she agrees, unfortunately, and finds herself in a better situation. So now she is grieving the loss of her husband. She has to marry the first guy who sets foot on the pier, but the storm is over. And come to find out, the first man who steps foot on the pier is a fisherman who is gravely wounded, and that is who she must marry. And there enters Oak. And Oak, like I said, he's just a lowly fisherman, and he says, you know, now we're married. This is gonna have to be, we're gonna have to build trust with each other. I'm gonna take you to my home and all this. So she gives up her queendom to her cousin, and now she has gone to the island with Oak. And I have kind of mixed feelings about this book. So basically what it comes down to is that Coralus is wanting to get revenge on Okeanos because of what happened to her husband and her islands and everything. She wants revenge on him, on this god, and is willing to do anything to get that. And to the point where she kind of is just one-track mind, you know, like really frustratingly in that one-track mind. And it gets kind of annoying. So far, I overall like this writing. However, there are points where the author is like, it's really easy to read and it's going really quickly. And then there's lines, like I tagged one of them here, that it's just, I have to stop and reread it because it's like, oh, this is supposed to be more formal. This is supposed to sound different. And so she switches words around and it makes it a little weird, like to listen or like, you know, to read it. So like this point that I marked, and it says, sorrow is the gift you give what cannot be or is not anymore. It is a gift to the past. Anger is the gift you give the future, a sacrifice offered to unrelenting gods in hopes they'll choke upon it, and you can rebuild the world as you like it from their bones. Now it sounds fine once you kind of slow down and read it, but when everything else it reads really easy and, you know, stuff like that, it reads really easily, and then you come across one of these lines where it says, sorrow is the gift you give what cannot be or is not anymore, in one stretch. And it's like, is there punctuation missing? Or is it just that she's trying to kind of scale up her writing at these random points? And it makes it a little bit confusing. That's kind of mellowed out a little bit now. I haven't noticed it as much since I've been reading this morning. There is one point at the end of chapter 8 where the author unintentionally spoils herself for this book, which I was, you know, it's something that you kind of wonder about and you're kind of questioning it as it is, but then she spoils it. And I don't know if every copy is like this, because this book was kindly sent to me by Orbit Publishing or Hachette Publishing. It was kindly sent to me as a final copy from them. So I'm not sure if every edition is this way, but I'm really curious if it is or not. So at the very end of chapter 8, she does spoil herself, which luckily isn't something that it waits until the end to reveal. It's something that it's already revealed itself just now that I'm on chapter 14. It has already revealed itself, so it's not something that was like a long way off. So it's not as big of a deal, but I don't think that she meant to do it. And I'm not going to tell you what it is because, I mean, why would I spoil that? Spoil her spoiler. But so that kind of frustrated me a little bit, but it was something that it ended up not being a big deal because she explains it not long after. And so there is that, but I am enjoying this overall. So she's trying to get revenge on this god and for what happened with her kingdom and with her husband. She's lost her queendom because, like I said, she gave her queendom up to her cousin when she got married. And so now her cousin has taken over as the ruler of the Isles. And there's magic involved. It's very beachy. The writing is very atmospheric. This island sounds beautiful. And so I am really enjoying it. I'm really curious to see where the heck this is going to go. It's kind of reminding me just a tiny little bit of Percy Jackson, just a little bit. And then there are things that are kind of reminding me of some other stories. So like, you know, just with the different gods and stuff like that. So I am really enjoying this right now, and I'm excited to keep reading. So it does read really, really quickly because when you actually open it up, not only is the font large, but we have these huge page breaks right here, and so the pages are about 2 inches smaller than what it actually looks like. So it's making this read really, really quickly. But I am really, really enjoying this. I love the gods and the questions of the gods, and she makes it similar to other things in words and names and stuff, I feel like, but at the same time it's very much her own. She's created this own deity system, and so it's really interesting, and I am really enjoying it. I'm curious to see where it's gonna go. The whole big thing with making a deal with the god is that there is always a big payout. If you want something big, you gotta pay big. And so like with that fact that she has to give up her queendom, and after she loses her husband, and she has to immediately get married, all for this god to stop a storm. So it ends up being a big trade-off. And so yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I'm really curious to see where it's gonna go. I'm gonna continue reading this today, and I will try and check back in with you as soon as I finish it to give you my final thoughts. I think right now this is kind of ranging from a 3.5 to a 4 as of right now, but there's still a long ways to go, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I will check back in with you guys later on, and hopefully I'll have some more thoughts for you. There's maybe some better thoughts for you. Hey, what's up guys? So I am back. I finished the Trident and the Pearl the other day, and I'm gonna end up giving this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I thought the world building was really interesting. The concepts in this book were really interesting. There were parts of this book where Corliss, our main character, is not very likable, but I feel like honestly she is very relatable as a person in general, with the way that she sees things, or maybe overreacts a little bit, maybe gets a little hasty about things. And so I think she's very relatable for that fact. And I think that's what makes her an interesting character and not always such a likable character. But I did really enjoy this a lot, and I'm really, really curious to see what is going to happen in the next book. I told my husband when I was reading this, I feel like at the beginning things started out just a little bit rocky, and then it was like she found her rhythm and she found her flow for the book, and things really started to get better and kind of even themselves out, and it ended up working out really good, and I liked it a lot. So really looking forward to this one, and I'm really, really glad that I read it. I also have just barely started Nightshade and Oak. This is by Molly O'Neill. So I did just start Nightshade and Oak. I'm not very far into it, only about 18 pages, but this is about the goddess of death, and she is somehow turned into a mortal. So she doesn't know how to live a mortal life or do anything, and we're having to try and figure out what happened, why she turned into a mortal, and how she can get back to being herself and being a goddess of death once more. So I love Molly O'Neill's writing. This is the second book that I am reading from her. The first one was Green Teeth that I read, I believe it was last year. And I'm really, really excited to jump back into this. This one's not very long. It's a little bit less than 300 pages. And already I'm loving her writing. I think it's really, really interesting. And I think it's a lot of fun. So I'm really excited to get back into this, start reading more, making some progress. And I will give you guys some updates once I'm about halfway through, and I can give you a little bit more of an idea of what this book is actually about. So I'm going to go keep reading, and I will update you when I get a bit further. Okay, so I have been reading this book off and on all day today. This is obviously Nightshade and Oak by Molly O'Neill, and This one is following Malt, who is the goddess of death, and she is going with Bellis to try and visit the Lord of the Afterworld, basically. Because what happened is, in this book, at the very, very beginning, Malt is doing her job. She's trying to find the souls that are ready to move on into the Afterworld, and she's collecting those souls to get them where they need to go. Well, when she's doing this, she comes across a kind of magic that is also another soul that she needs to collect. So when she goes to collect it, she comes across 3 women. One is already dead, one is praying over another woman, and that other woman is kind of an in-between stage. So she tries to get that soul, and in doing so, she somehow loses her immortality. She loses her powers. And that is where Bellis comes in. Bellis was the woman who was praying over the other woman, who just so happened to be her younger sister, Cati. C-A-T-I. I keep reading it as Katie, but I don't know if that's how it's pronounced. I keep thinking of like Mean Girls, Cady Heron. But so Bellis, her mother has died, and the Romans are after her and her family. She was trying to save her sister, who was grievously injured, and so she's trying to save her sister, and in doing so, she was trying to transfer basically her life force to her sister, and Malt got into the middle of that, and it took her power away instead. So now, Bellis is trying to visit the Lord of the Afterworld, so that way she can try and get her sister's soul back, because her sister is basically now in a coma and unable to awaken because her soul is no longer in her body. Her body lives, but her soul is not present. So Bellis is trying to get her sister's soul back, and Malt is trying to go and visit the Lord of the Afterworld to try and figure out what happened with her powers and how to get it back. So these women, seeing as they're having to go to the same place and have the same kind of end goals, they go together. And so this book is, at least for the first half of this book, has been following these 2 women on this journey together to try and find the Lord of the Afterworld. And in doing so, it's also really, really difficult because now Malt is human. She doesn't have any of her powers anymore. She is not quick. She is having to deal with aches and pains. She normally would run around barefoot, and now she can't do that because obviously she's human, and things like that. So it's really difficult for Malt because she is not used to this. Her body isn't used to it, and it's really difficult for her, so she's slow moving. And then Bellis is, of course, having to try and guide her and help her, and is also getting very, very frustrated because she's listening to this goddess, or supposed goddess, complaining nonstop and moving at a snail's pace. But the point where I'm at now, they have made it to the Lord of the Afterworld's domain, his island, and he says, I'm kind of dealing with my own problems here. There is a disease that is taking over the Afterworld, so I can't help you. I was hoping you would help me, and now you're stuck here and you can't leave because I had to seal off the entrance to my realm. So that's where we're at right now. I love the writing in this book. I love the way that Molly O'Neill writes her characters and her worlds because it's really accessible. It's not overly complicated for being a standalone fantasy, and her characters are maybe not always likable, but they're fun and they're quirky and they're imperfect, you know, and I love that. I love the characters. There's just something about it that makes it so compulsively readable, and even in the parts where I'm bored, I'm still wanting to see what these characters are going to come up against and how their friendship and their relationship together is going to go. I'm not sure if this one, I believe that it says on the back that it slowly turns to attraction for these women, but we haven't really gotten to that. It's more of like they're becoming really good friends and they're starting to really rely on each other. There might be a little bit of attraction in there that we've seen. It's just not at the forefront. This is first and foremost about the friendship that they're creating. and I'm enjoying it a lot. I don't know what I would rate it yet because there's still a lot that needs to happen in the next half of the book, and I feel like some parts of this have gone fairly slow, but she doesn't plague it down with their travels. Like, it is there and it is very much present in the beginning with Malt having to figure out how to move around and do everything as a human. She can't make a fire, she has to go and get water out of a well, and she's like, oh my god, this is really, really hard work. And then she's like, they meet up with this witch named Vada at one point in this book, and she tells Vada, she's like, I don't know if you realize this, but it sucks because when I go uphill, my thighs hurt, and when I go downhill, my calves hurt. So all the time, everything hurts, and it's muscles that I didn't even know I had. And all I keep thinking about is when we go out walking, like for shed hunting or for hunting in general, oh my god, my legs get so sore because my husband walks like this all the time. This is what he lives for. He loves to be outside. Me, on the other hand, I am not that active of a person when it comes to stuff like that. When it comes to dropping down into a canyon and going up the other side, I'm not meant for that. I don't usually do that. So when I do it for shed hunting or for hunting in general, it kicks my ass. And so it cracks me up listening to her talking about it because I've been there. I have been there. I haven't hiked so hard that I've been vomiting. I haven't done that, thank God. But having it to where you feel like you're having to constantly stop and having to catch your breath, and just it's hard work when you're going up and down these mountains and these canyons and stuff. It's hard work, and so I can feel for her in those moments so much. But overall, I am enjoying this quite a bit. I am flying through it. Like I said, I've read half of this book today. I was only about 18 pages in to start with this morning, and so I'm flying through it. I'm really enjoying it. I love her writing, and she really does have these really quirky, fun characters. Green Teeth, it was Jenny Green Teeth, our sea monster, that I absolutely loved her character, and now in this one we have Malt, the goddess of death. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm excited to continue and see where this leads and what's going to happen next, because we have kind of a lot of sticks in the fire right now, and I'm excited to see how it's going to go. So I'm going to continue on reading this. It's just about time for me to head down to the bus, so I thought it was the perfect time to come on here and give you guys a quick update, and hopefully I'll finish this tonight, and if not tonight, then I will definitely be finishing this tomorrow. So I'm really excited to see what happens next and where we go from here. Really excited for this. I've wanted to do this video for a really, really long time, and so I'm glad to finally be doing it. So that being said, I'm gonna get ready to go. I am going to keep reading, and I will talk to you guys once I finish the book. Okay, so it is the next day, and I have finished Nightshade and Oak by Molly O'Neill. I am giving this one 4 stars. There was a lot going on in this book. For being only 275 pages, right? Yeah, 275 pages. This book had so much going on. She loses her powers, and then she meets up with Bellis, and they're trying to get her powers back, save Bellis' sister, and now there's just so much going on with this, and so many little details in this, and I thought it was really good. My only issue with this was that it was like she forgot about a bunch of things until the very, very end, and then everything like went poof, and like she lost track of time almost. So everything happened really, really quickly at the end. It was kind of a letdown of an ending for me personally, but it was also a realistic ending, I think, for this situation and what you would kind of think would happen. So I really enjoyed this. I ended up giving this 4 stars. This is another one by Molly O'Neill that I really, really enjoyed, and I will definitely continue to keep picking up her work. I think that Green Teeth was a little bit more whimsical. I always describe that one as kind of reminding me of Princess Bride, with just being kind of a silly, goofy adventure. This one was a bit more on the serious side. But I thought it was so good. I loved the parts in the middle where they're in Anwen, which is the afterworld. That section of this book I absolutely loved. I thought it was so interesting, and it had a little bit of like a what dreams may come kind of idea to it. And if you know me at all, I absolutely love the movie What Dreams May Come with Robin Williams. That movie is like an ugly cry, absolute favorite movie. And so there were parts of this that kind of had that vibe to it, just a tiny, tiny little bit. They had to go through this maze that showed them things that they would want to be there but weren't actually there. They had to do some different things while they were in this afterworld, and I thought it was super interesting the way that she did this. Like I said, there was a lot of different elements to this. There's a lot of moving parts to it. The characters are always totally likable, but I think they're very relatable. I think they're very real because of that. Not everybody is totally likable, you know, and there are certain things with people or YouTubers or whatever that we like and don't like, you know. There's people that we connect with and there's people that we don't. And I think that's true for everybody, and I think that's part of what I liked with this book. So really, really super glad that I read this, and I'm giving it 4 stars. So we have another win. So it's 2 4 stars for this video. After giving this 4 stars, I am now going to be wrapping up this video. So I read The Trident and the Pearl and Nightshade and Oak. Both of these I gave 4 stars. This one being from a debut author. This is her first book. I'm really curious to go on with this series and see what the heck is going to happen next. Especially now that she kind of got into her rhythm for her writing. And of course, Molly O'Neill. I'm going to continue to pick up her books. They're short, standalone fantasies. There is a little Easter egg in here for Green Teeth, which I loved that. I always love when authors put little Easter eggs in their books like that. And so I will continue to pick up books from this author. I love her writing. It's so easily readable, and they're not exactly cozy fantasy, but they have that vibe, but there's still higher stakes in them. So I absolutely love both of these books. I gave them both 4 stars. I'm really looking forward to see what these authors come out with next. So have you read these? Have I made you want to read these? I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comment. If you have read Green Teeth and you really enjoyed that one, I would love to hear that as well. But I am going to get out of here and start on my next video. So thank you so much for being here, hanging out with me for a little bit, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.